Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Pete Van Cleave, owner of Water for Life. How you doing, Pete?
Doing good, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I know we chatted a while back. Glad we were able to reconnect and actually do the podcast today. So thanks for being on the show. I like talking entrepreneurs. I appreciate your time.
You bet.
So, Pete, tell me a little bit about Water for Life. So I'm sure you could do a much better job introducing your company than I ever could.
Okay. Well, Water for Life is a family-owned, locally operated water treatment firm. We do residential and commercial. We're 38 years old, and I am the owner and sole operator. I have become a master water specialist and a certified installer. I have four other people in my business. We do usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 service calls and or installations on a daily basis, and we have been designated as the Angie Best in Category Award winners, um, 8 out of the last 11 years,
Great.
um, in our local area, and we do business, from, Griffin, which is, towards the middle of the state, up to, the state, borders between Georgia and Tennessee and North Carolina.
Okay, so our listeners know for sure you're based out of Atlanta, right? Atlanta area?
Correct.
Okay. But then okay, so you do is that are you doing most of Georgia or
Yeah, we do North and Middle Georgia.
okay.
Don't go any further south than Griffin. Most people don't know where Griffin is, but it's north of Macon.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get into the water business? You said you've been doing this 38 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How,
Um,
how did you get into the water business?
well, I had a 17-year career with Lever Brothers, and I was in sales. Um, and I sold their household products, really their full line when I started off as a salesman in southern Indiana, and progressed through the ranks and wound up into as a division manager in the foods division for the South, headquartered here in Atlanta. And I guess I was arrogant enough to think I could do it better myself after that long in the business, and so I went into business myself. I looked originally at buying a pickle business. It was called Pete's Pickles, so I was interested in that, but it looked like it was kind of moribund, so I was afraid I couldn't bring that one back to life. And I looked at a sponge business, but it was owned by Greek people, and they would go to Greece and dive down in the ocean to get these sponges, and then they sold them to grocery stores, and it was a little too expensive for me. It was over $2 million at the time, so I didn't go for that one. And then, plus, I was Dutch and not Greek, and I was afraid that might not go too well. Uh, and then I met a fellow who was had a water treatment business, um, called Oceanus. It was a multi-level company, and I did not like that marketing plan, but I was attracted to the business itself, and I thought I saw an opportunity there, and so I started up from scratch, and my first line was with Everpure, and we built the line to 20 brands and over 110 different solutions, all designed to specifically treat, our local area because water treatment is totally local. So, everybody's situation is different. And so we think we have an edge on national companies, um, particularly because Atlanta is not a hard water area. It's one of the only 15% of the United States does not have hard water. And most of the national companies started as a water softener company. So we think we have better solutions that are keyed towards the local area water, and we've competed very well with national companies, and we built a pretty good size service business as well. So um, I'm not living off my sales all these years, but it's kind of nice to have that repeat business as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Repeat business is always key. So I want to make sure I follow the journey because Water for Life is something you transition into from your previous business with water. Is that right? It's is you're
Well,
doing the
well,
bottled water business beforehand, or did I get that
uh,
wrong?
no, you're right to this extent. When I started in business, I started off selling water treatment, and then um, I was fortunate in that I got the Waffle House account in my first year in business. But I didn't make enough progress, and so I wanted to, expand my line and get into bottled water, which was more popular than water treatment by about 5 times
Mhm.
at the time. And so we start off as Van Cleave sales associates, and then became Water for Life later on when we went with the bottled water. And I sold bottled water and had a pretty decent sized business in up until 2019 in bottled water, but I sold that off in 2019 and began focusing exclusively on water treatment.
And so when you guys tell us a little bit about when you're out your sales calls or your installations, what exactly are you installing? What makes you different from just, you know, I hate to say it, but someone like me still drinking tap water or buying bottled waters just from, Sam's.
Right. Well, one of the ways I mentioned that we're different is that we are local as opposed to national. So we compete very well with, national companies like Culligan and Rainsoft and so forth. Now, the newest one I think that has entered is Leaf Filter. Um, they tend to, be very proud of their name, and we're able to sell equipment that's equal to or better than theirs at a far lower price. We don't have to pay any franchise fees, and we're a profitable company. So even at lower prices, um, we're making a fair profit. A lot of the equipment is actually manufactured, or the components of the equipment is actually manufactured in 3 or 4 different companies, and we all use those companies for our components, and we put our own names on them, or we go with a an independent brand name, and I have gone with a 20 brand name. So we're not a one brand fits all company. We, again, believe that the fact that we have multiple carriers is a big strength of ours, and our solutions are much more specific than somebody who is selling one brand.
I got you. So it sounds like education is a big part of your process or sales process, educating the homeowner if it's residential as to the benefits of why they need to convert to your system, right?
That's right, education and I think to some degree passion.
Yeah.
Our, when my, middle daughter was 12, this is before I got into the business, um, actually, not before I got into the business, but before I, opened Water for Life, and she, contracted Giardia from the Marietta tap water, and Giardia is a parasite, that, um, can enter your body through the drinking water, and it attaches itself to your small intestine, and then it breaks open, and a healthy person will get a very bad case of the dysentery for a couple of weeks. My daughter missed 8 weeks of school
Wow.
after the operation to take the parasite out. She just continued to be sick, and she stayed in my family room, like, belching, like, like that all day long for 8 weeks, and the doctors had her on 6 different types of medicine, and I finally said to my wife, "Honey, I don't think the doctors really know what they're doing.
Right.
They're just treating the symptoms, and, she's a middle child. Maybe we need to send her to a psychologist or something and see if she just likes the attention or what's going on." So we did that, and the psychologist said, "Okay, send her back to school, let her go to the bathroom if she needs to, but don't pay too much attention to her." And so that's what we did, and, in 2 days, she was fine.
Huh.
But I thought to myself, gosh, when I got into the business, I didn't really want to go into people's homes to sell stuff. I don't really like that, had people coming into my own home. And so
Right.
I don't know, I was above that somehow. But, um, now I do it every day and I love it. And it's a story that I tell quite often because it shows, that I truly am a fierce protector of other people's families, and I knew that I could have protected my daughter had I really understood what was going on because I have products that could have prevented that parasite from entering her body. But I was
Sure.
just doing commercial at the time. I could do that during business hours and I didn't have to go into people's homes at night and so forth. Now I'm happy to do that. And one of the things I'm proudest of is I get a lot of accolades from people who say, "Boy, you really know what you're doing, and we trusted you."
Yeah.
And so that I've tried to make that a big part of our culture, to pass that same passion down to everybody that works for me. Uh, did you
Oh, that's
know did you know that there really is affordable health care out there that
no. I didn't know that.
and that's what we provide,
Yeah.
because there was a study done in 2023, it came out in February, was published widely, and it was, on 11,500 seniors that eBio followed from their 60s to their 90s, and, it was funded by the National Institute of Health, and they were looking for what effect drinking water had on your longevity as a human being. And what they found was that your sodium serum level determined whether or not you were drinking sufficient quantity of water. And if you were not, those that were not drinking sufficient quantity of water tended to have high blood pressure. They tended to be having strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, and all the rest. And those that were drinking sufficient quantity of water were living much longer. And guess what the average was?
No idea. 10 years?
15 years.
15 years longer drinking adequate water.
So I thought of my own parents. They were 78 years old, both of them when they died, about 6 months apart. Had they been drinking a sufficient quantity of water, and in their case, they were both smokers, so, that didn't help either, but they could have lived into their 90s.
That's
And,
crazy.
so that to me is what affordable health care is having a much longer life because you're taking care of yourself, and all you really, really have to do is drink sufficient quantity of water.
And I guess the quality of water is important too.
Yeah, you can't drink too much of water that's, full of
Sure.
carcinogens and whatnot. You
What?
gotta drink pure water.
Sure. Well, why do you think most consumers are confused about water treatment? And what is it what do they not understand?
Well, it's not easy,
Yeah.
like, bottled water is easy. Everybody gets bottled water,
But they say
but
it's got a lot of plastic particles in it and stuff. And you hear about all that.
correct.
Mm.
That's right, and so our story um, is something that you have to communicate to people who can't see what you're talking about, they can't smell what you're talking about, they can't taste what you're talking about, but yet you still have to demonstrate to them that these small, tiny, infinitesimal things that are measured in parts per billion with the B and parts per trillion with the T, are the things that can kill them. And
Right.
you can't see them, you can't smell them, you can't taste them, but they're in there. And, because if you run a glass of tap water and you run a glass of pure water and you set them side by side, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference just by looking,
One's
okay?
not going to turn green and the other one.
Right. Right. So, what we did was we developed, um, it wasn't a machine that we developed, but it was a test that we did side by side where we showed people a number, which was very objective. When you dip a total dissolved solids meter into the tap water, it's going to give you a reading. And in our area, the average is somewhere between 45 parts per million and 65 parts per million. And if you dip it into legally purified water by the pharmaceutical definition, which treated the tap water using reverse osmosis or deionization or distillation, any of those three, that same water is going to register somewhere close to zero.
I got you.
So that's a number, very objective way of showing people the difference. Legally purified water is anything that's 20 parts per million or less, and also microbiologically pure.
You obviously just visiting with you, I can tell you're an expert in the subject matter, and also tell you have a lot of passion for it, which is really cool to see. Because they always say, look, if you don't love what you do, then go find something that you do love, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
makes it more of a, you
I
know,
do love what I do. I really do.
how much of your business is commercial versus residential?
Um, it used to be much larger before commercial, before we sold the bottled water off. But that was primarily office business.
Sure.
And we sold also bottleless coolers. And we still do sell a little bit of bottleless coolers because the guy I sold my business with, unfortunately, they went out of business during the pandemic. Um, and so our non-compete no longer exists. So we've gotten back into that a little bit with a premium line that we like that is in a class by itself. But primarily we're residential now.
Residential. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned your team and culture earlier. How important is your culture to the success of your business?
Gosh, that's so hard to measure. Um,
It is.
yeah.
It's, I think you really just relate, always look at culture in your team, right? And you said everybody that works for you try to pass down that same passion or education. So
I'll
I
tell you
just
one way I was able to measure it at
Yep.
one point in my career is when we wanted to expand and open a showroom, in another part of town, and so we went to the bank and we asked them for a loan, and, um, and when we gave the presentation to the bank, I didn't give the presentation. I had my people all talk about it from their perspective and their particular jobs about how, how we deserve this loan and I was so proud, we practiced a little bit, but I was so
Sure.
proud at how well they explained my business to the bank, and we did end up getting, that, 125,000 loan that we asked for.
That's great.
Mhm.
Because my joke with banks are they never wanna loan you money when you need it, and they always wanna loan you money all the money in the world when you don't need it. So, I
That's
mean,
that's right.
that's good. I like that you use your team too as part of the sales pitch or to present that, so that's unique, as well. Let's talk a little bit about, I love talking marketing. Like I told you when we met earlier, I own a digital marketing agency. We do a lot of web dev. We do a lot of SEO, a lot of AEO, as they say now, answer engine optimization, a lot of paid ads. You mentioned Angie's List, which I guess is you've been awarded one of the top in your space. What else do you do to drive in leads, or how are you getting new leads?
Well, we work through distribution channels, so we have friends in the office coffee business. We have friends in the well business that are well drillers. We have, friends in a variety of different areas that, we get our leads from, but, still the best source of leads, over the long haul, it has been for us, has been Angie, and we get about a 20 to 1 return on investment with that, and we do pay for those leads, but, it's not something that, is that big of an expense because we do get such a great return on our investment.
20 to
Um,
1 is a great return. There's a lot of
w
people out there like to have that 20 to 1
yeah.
return on their marketing dollars. Do you get any leads off of Google? Just organic leads that come in from the website, or is
We're
it not
we're we're trying to get our website to the place where it attracts more leads organically, and, that is, that's a big goal for us, and, of course, it's, a little bit more not more complicated, it's just trying to understand the impact of AI, and, we think we're getting somewhere with that, AI is recognizing us, I had a customer who called in just off the website the other day who told me that that they got our name number 1 on AI, and so I think that's gonna be uh, a big deal for us, and we're working very hard to adjust our, website, with, one of my, employees, a contract employee who, works on the back end of our website to make sure, we're optimized in that way.
Yeah, I
And I
mean, we do a ton of work in that space.
we
We've always
we
been a big
actually went on Claude
Yeah.
and, just started asking questions and, "What do we do about this? What do we do about that?" And they would give us an answer, and then we try to implement it.
Yeah, no, it definitely give you some good insight. Content's so premium, in our belief. It's always been that way for Google, for organic. And I think putting that premium on content has always it's helped us, especially in these early days, because we
Mhm.
started seeing leads, gosh, several years ago from ChatGPT and our own brand, and then started seeing leads. Our clients started getting leads. Now we're obviously doing a lot of direct things to influence the AI engines as well, the LLMs, as I'd like to call them, large language models. But authoritative content, right? Being authority in that space is really important. FAQs are really important. they're scraping from Google, right? So if you're resonating with Google, then you have a high probability of resonating with the AIs and actually showing up. But people are searching in, ChatGPT or Claude different than they do Google. People are now becoming more educated that it's not just quit typing in keywords and so forth. Really, they're
Mhm.
diving into these long tail questions and so forth. And I think that's why one of the reasons why FAQs are so important because you're answering those questions, right?
Yeah.
How do I answer these questions properly within my content that ChatGPT or Claude is going to recognize to and serve
Mhm.
my business up when that same question or similar is typed in as into the prompt, right? So if you
Yeah.
follow me there, but yeah, no, it's interesting because it's here, it's not going to go away, and so we're big believers. I'm just talking to my right hand guy, the magic man, as I like to call him. We were just talking about Claude literally before I logged on with you. So
Yeah.
we're talking about it all the time. And glad to see that hey, you think you might be turning the page there or turning the corner and actually start getting some leads. Um
We're just scratching the surface, but I think we've got a long ways to go, but I'm encouraged by what we've done so far.
yeah, it's a long-term plan. Just same thing with like SEO. You and I talked about SEO earlier. I think someone had recently told you they thought it would go away, like organics just going to disappear, but Google would have to disappear then, and so they still print money and lots of it. So, and they have their Gemini and they have AI mode, so I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I still think they'll have a tremendous amount of traffic, but yes, they are. Um, these AI models have their attention. I saw another commercial on TV for Google that was promoting their AI Gemini. So used to, you never saw Google didn't advertise for years, like, right? But
Yeah.
now I see them on national TV again. I saw the first one about a year ago. It was during the NBA finals and it was just ask Google was their tagline. Just ask Google, which they're already rephrasing with the ask in there, because that's what these
Mhm.
AIs go and ask these questions on AI. But I had never I don't remember seeing a national televised commercial from Google. And so I thought that was interesting. And now what here we are 8, 9, 10 months later, I'm seeing commercials where they're focusing on the same thing. They're trying to protect their market share, right? You don't need to go
Right.
to chat, you don't need to go to Claude. Basically, the theme is just go to Google where you've been going the last 20 years, right? Just
Mhm.
all right here. You don't need to go to these new shiny objects. But
Yeah.
I actually love it because it's actually giving them a run for their money, right? It's got their attention, which um in our space when you deal with Google all the time and they're basically monopoly, it's a little frustrating because there's no lack of there's no competition, right? So
Yeah.
they can kind of do whatever it is they want to do and manipulate the search, world however they want to manipulate it. So I got a little off topic. I got a little passionate on my side of the house there.
I'm sure.
Pete. So let's kind of start. I want to kind of widen this thing down a little bit.
Okay.
What are you most excited about today? I mean, we're into 2026. You've been doing this for years. What gets Pete excited about where the business is heading, and as we look into 2026 and beyond?
Well, I've loved the way the direction of the technology. It's more and more sort of electronic and giving the customer more information quickly at the touch of a button. Those kinds of things are interesting to me, and I'm passionate about staying up with the technology. We attend all the trade shows to make sure we stay up with it, and that's also fun for me to go and see what's the latest, what's the newest stuff coming down the pike. But the AI thing is exciting to me as well because um, I think we're on the path, and we're starting to ask some of those questions, and really, um, I I think I just want to be number one. That's what I'm
Everybody wants to
after.
be number one, Pete. That's the goal, right? You want to show
Yeah.
up. Well, that's always been the power of Google, right? I mean, I cut my teeth in marketing, selling yellow page advertising, which was just really the original search engine, the yellow pages, right? But the concept's the same, right? I have a
Hmm.
problem. I go to the yellow pages or now I go to Google. Now I go to AI, but I've got a problem. How do I fix this problem? Right. So that's the power
Hmm.
of direct marketing, right? They're looking for you, right?
Right.
I'm tired of these bottled waters. I wanna get an in-house water treatment filtration system. Probably didn't say it the right way, but how do I find someone, right? So they go searching, right? And so, yeah, everybody wants to be number 1 or and you don't necessarily have to be 1 to still have success, right? But but page 1
Right.
is important, showing up in those prompts, because 'cause we're always searching on AI too and coming up with crazy, search phrases or questions to see if our clients are popping up, right? And to see how do we fix that? We've even played around with, um, and had some success doing reviews a certain way, all geared towards because it's a trust signal, right? But, doing that review kind of an FAQ sequence to where, to see if it would get picked up by chat. We were playing around with ChatGPT, and it worked. I mean, we started showing up in the map section on AI immediately when we started, coaching, "Hey, let's try to get these reviews worded in a different way." So, it's a big rabbit hole. I mean, you can go on AI and spend, like, going there for a quick search and be on there for an hour like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because it keeps drilling down. I like that you're excited, you've been doing it a long time, but all the new technology still fires you up. So many business owners, they don't want new technology. They don't want anything new. They just want to be the same. A lot of those guys over time, I think, eventually go out of business or sell or something because it just you gotta adapt change because it's always going to be happening.
For
Um,
sure.
if you were somewhere out there's a young Pete. He wants to get into, say, the water business or start his own business. What advice would you give them as far as starting your own business?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said, do what you love, figure out what you really are passionate about and try to head in that direction. And then, just keep an open mind because it'll never be what you expect it to be, and, be ready to move and shift with the market and, whatever trust your gut and go for it, you know? If you if you lose a little bit of money, trying things out, that's okay, because you might make a million trying things out as well.
Yeah, I heard recently, it's okay to fail because you only need to be right once, right, to really have something big happen in business, right? So
Yeah,
failure is going to happen. Just keep plugging because you only need to be you only need to be right one time.
for sure.
And a lot of times that is so true because businesses really most growth patterns happen quickly and kind of take off like a rocket because you hit the magic potion or whatever it was in that business to really make it take off and grow. I always like to ask my guests, do you have any favorite quotes you can share with us, Pete?
Right?
Example is I always give an example. One of my favorite ones, I've been saying it for years, is the truth requires no memory. And the reason why I like that is because we've all been known, right, to not speak the truth sometimes. And then you go, well, what did I say? And so I just always like, hey, look, the truth requires no memory. If I just speak the truth, I don't have to remember what I said. I always feel like that was a powerful, powerful quote. Do you have anything you could share with us? I know I put you
I
on the spot there.
I do remember my father-in-law telling me when I got into business, just remember, very similar to what you just said, just remember if you're a good guy and you try to tell the truth and, do the right thing, you're bound to get ahead.
I like it. I like it. Well, Pete, it's been great visiting with you. I appreciate you jumping on. It's interesting to learn more about the water business and the benefits. And I think my favorite thing was he threw me a curveball and he said affordable healthcare. And I was like, doesn't exist. You're like, actually, it does. It's all in the water. So,
Exactly.
drink more water, drink better water, and you could increase that lifespan. The research says it. You right?
That's
You
right.
have the study. So, um, great visiting with you. I appreciate you sharing for our listeners. For everybody in the Atlanta area, if they wanted to find you and reach out about how you can help them with their water, how can they find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you, Pete?
Well, they could call me at 770-652-0076. They could go on my website and fill out a contact form, www.waterforlifeonline.com.
Got it. Well, Pete, Great to meet you. Great to visit with you. Thank you so much for your time today.
You bet. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Take care.